our project was on the cyber Killchain. And, well, it was a good project. We were tasked with talking about the effectiveness of the cyber Killchain and how accurate it is in reality. This was a very open question as such. Within our group, from early on, we could tell we had a good mix. We all like to talk about the Belbin roles and scales and stuff. So, me personally, I was a coordinator, so I worked well arranging the group and stuff. We also had quite a few. I believe we had Lewis, who was a plant, and Callum, an implementer. Vlad was also a plant and implementer. We had quite a good, solid working direction. How we were required to be able to innovate, I'm not so sure how we would have done. But we managed to really dig deep into this task. We also had Simon, who was another coordinator. You think that means we were more organized together. That's where you'd be wrong. Either way, no. I don't mean to sound sassy. But yeah, that's the kind of roles we had in the group. Later on, we kind of took on different roles as we broke it down. So I was in charge of primary research, which meant I had to spend a lot of time going out, researching, asking industry experts. I'm sure I'll talk about more of that and more of my research later on. We also had quite good division of roles. So we had somebody designed to explain the cyber Killchain. We had somebody down to do the introduction, conclusion, summarize our points. We also had a lot of not pretty good get it done sort of attitudes. Lewis worked on ethics and stuff, and it fell together quite well. I think our ability to define roles was quite a good strength for our group. It stopped us stepping on each other's toes so much. So as we're investigating the cyber Killchain, Killchain of stuff, just be like, okay, if I need this information, where do I go? I'll go to him because it's the right thing to do. That sort of thing. It's the simple stuff that it works. But I do think the times we did struggle were the times where the roles kind of deviated slightly. The disadvantage of a strict role structure is, timing and working together cohesively, which I'll talk about that later, but yeah. So we had quite good roles. The brief was good, but it's awfully specific, I found, and vague at the same time. It was about buzzwords, which sometimes can be difficult to investigate. Either way, I think that's my 4 minutes up. See you in the next one. I'm just going to go back in here. So, for our project, we decided to conduct primary research. Although it's the requirement of the course, we also thought it would be good to get an expert's opinion on how the cyber Killchain works in practice. So to do this, we, as I said, wanted qualitative results. To get qualitative results, then we had to reach out to industry experts. So that required me, because I was the main role for our primary research. So I had to sit there. I decided to do research about which firms would be important. So I thought relevant to the local area. I looked through firms within the cyber block in South Wales, which I think would have been easy to get get information back from because of university ties and such. And I also tried to reach out to well-known companies because I thought they would be able to give a reputable opinion. I think I probably sent around 10, 20, 30 emails. I know that's a wide range, but that sort of area. So back I got one. From Warren from Economist, which is one source. He provided a brief breakdown, and then we emailed a lecturer, Emilio Pereira, from the university. From there, we interviewed him. Earlier on in the project, one of the first few things we did was decide what sort of questions we need to ask, what sort of information do we need. So for this, we decided to ask hopefully 3-ish questions, but they're rather open questions. And for the interview we did, we decided to dig deeper into that because, of course, why not use more information when you have it? So we just asked, have you heard of the cyber Killchain and do you use it? That was kind of one question. Second is, do you think it's an accurate representation of how an attacker may attack a system? And the third question was, have you used any alternatives, or does your company use any alternatives? So throughout a lot of that, we had things like the MITRE attack and model and such. We also performed a second wave of research after we saw lacking results coming back. So that's why we sent out tweets, Reddit posts on forums, to try and get as much collective information in. Of course, this is less valid than, other information, but it's still information at the end of the day. And surprisingly, although they did not have names to back them up, from my personal knowledge, a post on Reddit, which was, I think it was r/hacking, seemed to come up with a very good, detailed series of responses back, which really, although did not necessarily provide conclusive results, really helped in deciding how to use our data and how to conclude. So overall, we had quite low quantity. We had slightly higher quantity of this less reputable stuff, which is how it should be, to be honest. Had I had more time, there would have been more emails sent out, more chances to get networking with people. I accidentally turned down an opportunity with somebody from IBM because he was off busy, and I couldn't get an email back from him in time. So it was the sort of thing of things could have pulled through had it been a full-length research project. I think we started well on the grounds. We had our ethics laid out from the start. So I'll go over, I think I've already gone over my ethics slightly, but the no under 18s, and we were fully GDPR compliant as much as we knew how to. So yeah, that's our entire coursework. Coursework's research primary. Yeah, I think I'll join you in the next one where I talk about the pros and cons of our team. I have a shower to go have. So, let's
strengths and weaknesses. Well, although we did somewhat have lacking performance in the project, I think we did fairly well overall. My role as coordinator, I kind of ran up and ran as a team leader as such, which kind of meant that I was coordinating a lot of the group. So throughout the project, I was often making sure everybody was on task and things. And I think that really played into my role as the coordinator, as I said. From that position, I think I personally did quite well. I should have done better on many things, to be fair. Well, you know, there should be many things that I should have caught up on, made sure people did more, you know, that sort of thing. I wasn't the strictest, as I've said earlier, so that did mean a lot of things kind of got left in part to the last section, which I think could have been overall like a disadvantage to the group. I also think that as my role in primary research, I didn't do the best of jobs. That's because, well, I kind of had to overcome personal fears of contacting people. So I was overcoming some personal stuff, coincidentally during that time. Not extreme personal stuff to make it worth extenuating circumstances, but personal anxieties. So trying to get over that fear of approaching people, I think, was a slight difficult barrier for me. So that was where I personally failed on the primary research front. I also probably should have got a more uniform input type. Like I should have recorded the one interview we had, where I didn't record it. I should have, you know, tried to reach out to more people, basically, because frankly, you know, we needed as many responses back as possible, so it shouldn't matter who we have as much, because, you know, information is better than, some information is better than no information. Either way, I feel like I did the bare minimum for that, and I'm not sure I'm too proud of that as a fact. Personally, I also think, you know, as a group we had very lacking communication between different parts, and I think we had very different visions, which kind of served as a weakness, and as a role as somebody who's meant to be organising a group, that kind of falls down to one of my faults then. Because I'm pretty sure like a lot of us had the idea that we were working to explain the cyber kill chain, whereas others had the idea that we were describing the validity of the cyber kill chain. And although we got on the same level towards the end, I feel like we did spend a lot of it kind of behind the times. So, you know, whatever happens, did happen. But I think, yeah, as a personal weakness, I think I needed to work closer with the team and make sure there was more of a team cohesive spirit. So having spent proper time to introduce things and work together. Yeah. So finally we did the presentation, which I think turned out fairly well. We overran, is the big deal. Um, so the issue with that is, of course, we didn't fulfill the criteria fully, which meant that actually we're probably going to get marked down on it, and it's annoying when you are booked in for a presentation you have to overrun. It just is. How did we overrun? Poor communication, probably. Frankly, our group didn't plan too much about the presentation itself. We had kind of not tried too hard, if that makes any sense, on making sure we focus more on what's in the presentation than how we did the presentation, which kind of was our own downfall. So yeah, that was the key factor we took away from it. We also, I feel like some of us, well, we didn't have lines as such, so some of us had written things, and then we're reading them off, which, first of all, later on in the presentation we overran, and that required us to improvise slightly about what we were doing. So, like, I had to interrupt for the presentation to make it sure it didn't go, 2-3 minutes over. So that was, to a degree, a disadvantage for us. It showed we had a lot of content, though I'd argue that because of the lack of communication, our secondary research had created this whole slide over again. It was also the only time one of us noticed that, the cyber Killchain wasn't correct in our presentation. We had 2 different cyber Killchains mentioned. So it's a bit awkward. It's we trusted everybody to do perfectly, and we had no checks on how everyone did. So it's when you don't check, you get what you expect. So it happened, which is a trouble. To be honest, it is a massive problem. Well, we also had trouble with secondary research. Yeah, as I said, secondary research. We had 2 different things, and our secondary research went on for far too long. We went to have 3 minutes each. The first 2 people underran by a minute. The secondary person doing secondary research overran by about 3-4. If I hadn't stopped him, he could have kept going. So it kind of led to it looking conflicted in the actual presentation. So it's just it had the merits of what was good. We just needed to organise more as a group, rather than be this mishmash of people who did independent stuff. It's just a running theme. We would have done a lot better with better communication. I think that's true of almost every group, in anything. And again, that's my fault. I was a coordinator. The person doing secondary research was also a coordinator, so that did lead to some clashing as such. Not large social clashing, but a degree of clashing. But yeah. Do it if I did it again. What would we do? Practice. Going to have a visibly displayed timer rather than one I could see. And I probably have nicked the clicker early on so I can force people to move on. Because as I did with Salmon and such. But yeah, that's all my vlogs. I hope you found them entertaining and informative. please mark me high.